Hello guys, so I want to talk about trusting your journey, because the thing is, I feel like to embark on a path, to follow your soul, I always say we should always follow our souls, but I feel like I don't really say, or I don't really communicate what that looks like and what that means. I feel like I'm always reflecting on my journey. I'm always saying this, like, you need to have compassion for yourself and your journey, and you really do need to trust your journey. This is kind of how I see society. I feel like I used to see people as you are either following your soul or you're either following the herd. That's how I felt, because I felt like there are so many people around me that would follow this one path, and they were following this path that was like kind of laid out for them. And while that is true to some extent, and I feel like a lot of people could relate to that have kind of veered off this path and have felt like they've walked this path where a lot of people, perhaps where they grew up or whatever, would criticize their journey. And I feel like it can get really tough at times when people say cling to certainty, cling to something that's tangible, and you're just trying to have faith and trust your journey to follow what is within. I always applaud anyone that follows their soul. I do think it's not so as black and white as that. I think that everyone on this earth is following their souls in some examples. I don't think it's so simple as some people are just NPCs, because I feel like that's what we like to call people. We like to say, okay, that person is an NPC, but are they an NPC? Or maybe that they are just on their path and their soul is resisting changes. Their soul is resisting following something untangible. To really follow, I think, your soul, you're never going to get all of the puzzle pieces at once. And I think having sight and having faith and trust are different things. And having this knowing, this rootedness within yourself, I feel like it's a journey to even get there. So today's Canada Day, and even though I really don't celebrate holidays, I just noticed it was July 1st. And you know, on July 1st, things are mostly closed. Not like I go out many places anyways. It's so weird. Like, I remember 2 years ago, I just had this like urge to get up and go and do things outside and leave the house, because maybe I hadn't in a while. I felt this urge to go create something, and I was driving, I think, to the post office actually. I was driving somewhere, and I realized that all the places were closed. So what I did is I took a detour and I went to the beach. I kept saying for so long I wanted to create something, so I had my camera with me just all the time. Like, I was carrying it with me all the time around that period in my life. So I went to the beach, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to create something here. And I tried to create something creative, and then that inspired me to try to make these videos. And then for the next couple of days, I was like, you know what, I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to go create more. I'm going to go create more in nature, and I'm going to go to the waterfalls, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make this into a video. And that's when I kind of started to get into like learning how to edit more so, and like learning how to create long form videos in that way. It takes so long to do that, right? And to like just sit, anyone that like edits things knows, like, it's so much sitting in front of your screen. At first I feel like I kind of hated it, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm sitting here forever. But then you can get into this rhythm. Anyways, the point is, everything happens in cycles. So I've been feeling this pull again to create. It also made me realize, oh my god, this was 2 years ago, and why is it still that I have such a hard time putting out things? And if I put out things, like, they're just such lower quality than I would like them to. And I do think that sometimes, like, the things I try to put out, at times I can just put so much energy into it, and it could be like high quality, but it just won't be a use of my time. Like, I want to do creative things of high quality, but at the same time, if you're in a period of life where you're like, okay, you need to build something, or you need to move the lever, it just felt like, you know, it was taking away my time. It was too much time. It was not worth it. Even though I was like, you know what, I'm going to create in these moments. And I kind of felt this pull between resisting my soul. Okay, well, I have this, I should do this, the logical thing. And there's so many times on my path in the last 2 years, or even the last 4 years, I could look back and say, like, well, what have I really done tangibly, right? I feel like the ego, and we could say that, we can say the ego or the 3D mind likes to look at, okay, what have we done tangibly? And I feel like if I do spend time around people who, they say they support me, but they don't really get it, like perhaps people in my family or something like this, and maybe perhaps like they know an old version of me and they haven't really seen me much the last couple of years, but they just see like how maybe I'm different, or maybe I'm more evolved. I'm different, but like what I have done is maybe not different, and maybe like I'm still in a similar situation. And to me, that starts to make me look at myself and like put myself down. That's looking at things in such a 3D perspective. And I feel like, honestly, like I have been in such this 3D perspective, and I obviously was aware of this because I've been saying, like, I've been wanting to ground, and when I do things, like I tend to hop from one extreme to the next, and not in a bipolar way. I just think that's the way I work. That's my process, and that's how I figured out. I feel like I'm just always like holding on to these million things. When I'm in something, I really want to be in it. Let's put it that way. Like when I'm in something, I'm like, okay, let me be here. Let me honor this transition period. Like whatever is arising within me, let me address it. And I feel like the masculine, the 3D, the outlook perspective, the conditioned mind perspective. I'm not looking at the camera just because I have no script. Like that's the thing. I don't have any script for these videos. I just have these themes that have been going on. And that's why I'm like, I should have an intro. Maybe I should have more structure, but that overwhelms me, at this time. It feels inauthentic. And why should I look at other ways to create? Like just because this is a way to do something, or even go back to editing. Like maybe this is a way of editing. What if you can create your own way? Didn't Emma Chamberlain, when she started YouTube, she started like her own way of editing? Your path is your path, and your path is not going to look like anyone else's. And I know like some of the things I say sound insane, and people will look at me and laugh at me, but like who literally gives a shit? No one can see your vision. No one's ever going to be able to see what you are here for. I have such a rootedness and a knowing within me, and it's like not doubt at all. It's complete faith. But this was not faith through like a sight. It was not like faith like I was given everything, right? I feel like in one way I had this massive vision, right? But gaining this rootedness in this, I know what I'm here for, I know what I'm here to do, all of this stuff, this comes from a place of deep faith. Like I feel like when you follow your soul and you go through certain trials and tribulations, because I do feel like in life, like we all have different cycles and we all have different tests, barriers almost to overcome. And I used to feel like I had to prove these barriers to God or something. Like God was like testing me. Honestly, I've been so iffy about the term God. I think I'm gonna do a whole different video about that, a whole different topic about the pipeline from like Christianity, or I was never Christian, but like from the pipeline, from New Age Christianity. Oh my God, I have so many opinions about it. But that's been a part of my journey. There's so much that's been a part of my journey that required me to not work on anything tangibly. And every time I would try to build something physically, I would try to build something in this like physical world. Like obviously I'm in this physical world. Okay, how can I use terminology that would make sense? I'm realizing sometimes the words I use or things I say, they are not going to make sense to perhaps a lot of people, but I'm realizing like that's a good thing, right? Why should I generalize my message, right? Then sometimes I'm thinking, okay, like perhaps there's just a community for you, and then there's going to be the people that find it and the people that are for you and all this stuff. But I'm also thinking, looking back at 4 years, if I look at the tangible, if I just look at what's tangible, okay, yeah, I'm in a similar place. There's pictures of me 4 years ago. I was like, I want to go in the woods and I want to create. I've been repeating this cycle for years, but it's more so like every summer I just feel called to go in nature, and I feel called to be creative, and I've always been creative. But that's such a physical way to look at it. Even these relationships I'm reflecting on, like, oh my God, I have been reflecting on them from such a 3D perspective. I feel like it's so frustrating, everything in this world, when you just look at everything from this 3D perspective. And I feel like in certain ways I've had to go into that 3D perspective, because I was such just in a perspective for so long where like I didn't have that. You can't just ignore this material world. You cannot just ignore this physical world. Everything can happen for a reason. You can trust your cycles, but at the same time, like I feel like this physical world, whatever you want to call it, 3D, you're not meant to be just ascended. You're not meant to be above it all. So I feel like within your journey of following your soul, cycles will happen, because life does repeat in cycles, but not all cycles you repeat are bad. The reason why I keep creating, I do need to pay attention to this physical world. I do need to break through these barriers with creating, because all the time I would create and I would notice all these like flaws about myself. I would notice all these things that like I hated about myself, and it wasn't from this like I hate myself, I can't look at myself. I mean, part of me, it was because of that, but it wasn't from this like self-hatred. It was like this self-love, because I feel like people, they like to disguise like self-love is like, oh, you cannot change. But I think no, self-love is like having the ability to look at yourself and the ability to like to face yourself and the ability to change. But I feel like there's facing yourself, and then you have to go and you have to like behind the scenes sometimes make those changes, because I feel like sometimes if you just disappear for a little while and you just come back to the scene, or just come back to, I mean, that's what I like to call it. When I say like your internal world, I guess you could say it this way, you're paying attention. That's perhaps a better grounded way to say it. I hate this spiritual lingo. Maybe I should not learn more like the spiritual lingo, because my mind's attaching these explanations to it. Maybe I should describe this in a more like human way, because I feel like there's so much spiritual jargon, and I'm just like, I don't even agree with these definitions. I'm like trying to redefine these words. I'm just saying in a way that I understand. Like I'm giving myself these new definitions of words, but like, can I even do that? So I really believe that the only way to really do something is to understand that like you are the work, because if you try to go on your journey and to like find whatever like is like alarming you, whatever's like nagging at you. Say if you're like, I need money, while that really is like a very real thing to life, like it's a really real thing to need money and all these things, sometimes like you do need to just like pay attention to your physical world and focus on that. But I think sometimes these things, it doesn't matter how much we pay attention to it, if we're not meant to pay attention to it in that season of our life, and we're just like ignoring our soul because we're clinging to that fear. Because I feel like for so long it didn't matter how much I created or how much I did this or how much I did this, I was not going to be successful with that because I was never meant to be seen during that period of my life, right? For example, like I've always known I meant to do social media, but the thing is like social media is really like people like make it out to seem like it's so easy. Be like, oh, you know, those people that are like being an influencer, being this is not hard, but at the same time, okay, yeah, you're perfect. Like you look perfect. You have flawless skin. You have money. You had the ability to even create things because you had an aesthetic home. Like you had an aesthetic place. You're willing to work with any brand. Also, you're not being authentic. So it's like, whatever you do, but at the same time, like, no, it actually is hard. It's hard to create. And I know there's so much more tragedies in the world as well. Sometimes like your soul can even call you to reflect on things like that. And that's why a lot of times like I've not take action on my life in the physical sense. Like I've just, you know, went on long walks and just been in my head and reflecting. I know there's a cons, like I don't want to live my entire life in my head, but sometimes like that is reflection. So for the last 4 years, even though like creative wise and building platforms wise, I really should be far more ahead because I started typically years ago, but I've hardly put anything out within these few years. Every time I were to put something out, right? Every time I were to create something and put it out to the world, I would realize a lot of things of myself. I would realize like this is perhaps like you're not creating in the way that you want to create, but then a lot of times like I'll be like, okay, well, you created this, like are you going to delete this? You spent like 50 hours in this, or are you going to post it? And it is difficult to create when you're trying to create and you don't also have freedom of time and freedom of resources, right? So sometimes like you do, going back to what I was saying about money, like you do need to focus on the physical aspects to your journey. And even like with me creating, yes, I'm being more consistent now, even though I feel like I set myself up, I'm not like rich or anything, but I set myself up enough because I've been working hard for years. I felt like if I had an environment, I was in such scarcity mode. Part of me was thinking, well, I would have been able to create years ago if I just wasn't like just trying to survive. And sometimes like when you're trying to create good things in survival mode, it is not reality to do that. But then also sometimes like your journey will be something that someone else cannot understand. I feel like I've talked about like if you need money, like I've kind of been like, okay, just work harder. And sometimes I get like annoyed with people because I feel like I have like really grinded from like a young age. Sometimes like I feel like I have not even lived. I have lived. Sometimes I feel like more than other people, but at times I feel like I haven't. I feel like I've just grinded, and like sometimes I get annoyed when people are just like sell out because I feel like I grinded. You don't get a pat on your back. You don't get a pedestal for grinding. No one is going to feel sorry for you. No one should, because I realize I'm far more blessed than other people. You have to follow your journey and you have to trust it. And sometimes like the universe will also not let you get a job. I said create an opportunity for yourself that came from that grinding mentality. Listen, like my dad, one of the first things he taught me was like how to cold call. Having a business father dad is like literally when I was like 8, I would be shy on the phone. He would be like, call them back, say thank you, and like, you know, talk to them properly and stuff like this. Actually, I feel like my dad really instilled mannerism in me. Sometimes I can be very out there, but I feel like I definitely still have mannerism. Like when it comes to when I create and certain things, like speaking my voice and like finding that in itself has been this process, like how to find your voice and how to find your message. Looking at it from that perspective, you can say, okay, yeah, I have found my voice. Like what have I gained in the last 4 years? Okay, maybe I've not gained as much structure, maybe I've not gained as much things, and like I would, you know, at this point want to be far more ahead in like career aspects or what I've seen. Like I feel like when I went through my spiritual awakening 4 years ago, it wasn't like I was given this entire puzzle piece. It was like I was given this vision of what I meant to create, but no, what I'm meant for, it was not the puzzle piece. I never got the way. You know, when you see something and you know in your soul that this is what you're meant for, and you understand this is what you're meant to do, is for something to be activated within you. When you set a firework off, you light it and then it has to go up and it rises and then it sparks. And that's kind of how I have viewed this journey that I've been on. It's kind of like I was sparked open, cracked open, right? Complete rawness, complete cracked open. I feel like that kind of emotion, that depths of grief and despair and heart wrench and agony, that kind of emotion, this might sound sick to some people, but I think it's beautiful. I think that kind of pain, like part of me in my soul wishes like I could never want to feel that pain again, but part of me is I'm also so grateful that I was able to feel that pain, because I feel like that pain, it strips you of everything, right? It connects you to everything that matters. It was full-blown ego death, right? Like it's utter gut-wrenching despair, and everyone has dramatic ego deaths in different ways and grief in different ways. I met this woman, we started to talk about like the spiritual things. She had lost a son years ago. I genuinely believe that me and her were meant to cross paths. She felt like my sister. She's 71, the coolest girl ever. You meet sometimes like really bad people in your life, but they're not generally bad people. Like I feel like good people do bad things sometimes, but sometimes you also meet people and you meet them along your path, but they're not meant to be like a big part of your life. It's just a small period of time you meet. Like I feel like I've met a lot of women actually, which is really interesting. I met a lot of women who have lost sons. Like I've met a lot of women have lost their children. She was like, I could talk with these my friends my age and they would think I'm crazy, but she's like, what you're saying completely resonates. Sometimes when you talk to people and you don't know what you say until you say it, and you're like, wow. I feel like, and that's one way where I've been on this path, and I have ran into a lot of women who like lost their children. We were on a walk or something, you know, we just like connect on spirituality or something, and I just start saying things. It really started to make me realize in the power of my voice. I knew these things, but I say these things out loud, and sometimes when I speak, like I don't think before I speak, right? It surprises me what I say sometimes too. And when I speak, I become aware of like what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, that really surprised me as well. But anyways, she said, I always felt like no one knew grief. Like I know grief. Like you don't know grief. Like you don't know what it's like to lose a child. I thought that was like really interesting. Talked about that ego death. I could never imagine like what it's like to bear a children, literally portal, bring a child to this earth and to lose it. She said, but then I realized, what am I to judge? Everyone experiences grief in different ways. I think that is true. And sometimes I think about that as well. Like I compare my journey, not in just the ways of like, oh my God, there's so many people that are more like technically ahead, you know, like look how far they've gone, like look how successful they are. And I start to look at myself like, well, why are you so slow? Why are you so this? But I also start to look at sometimes the thing I'm saying from not this place of like comparing myself to people maybe that are my age or whatever, like maybe they are even younger. There's so many people, they're 20, and I feel like I started kind of getting into creation when I was 20, but I was such a different person. Anyways, before I go into that tangent, let me just finish up what I'm saying here. Grief is grief. Even though we go through certain things, we all go through different experiences. I feel like some people go through maybe more subtle ego deaths, and you don't go through dramatic great awakenings. They don't go through dramatic periods where it is this full-blown ego death. But it's not this comparison. It really is not. Grief is grief. Whatever we feel and whatever we go through, I wholeheartedly believe like it is to bring us closer to our souls. I believe in that. I believe that there's all these different parts of our journey, and it is to bring us closer to our souls. But I think that we are meant to connect with our souls so we can create from our souls. I feel like this is a kind of a very niche this is like a very niche thing. I don't know, because I feel like everyone that goes through despair and goes through grief is not meant to create. But I think that collectively as humans, a lot of us are meant to create from that place, from our souls. Perhaps that's why I find social media hard, because I look at other people around me, and I'm like trying to learn it. I'm trying to learn the 3D aspects and trying to learn the 3D tools, because I feel like, okay, I got my soul, I gained this identity, I really know who I am, and I'm really rooted to myself. And I feel like even if I have to learn these tools and still go through myself and still how to figure out how to talk to a camera and still how to do these things, because when you leave something, say I went on this path for a year and I'm focusing on more internal things, and I did try to create during this period, but I was kind of unhinged, to be honest. I just was like, you need to stop pushing yourself to create during this period, because that was what my soul was telling me. So you have to feel that intuitive nudge, that intuitive hit, and sometimes it's kind of difficult to do that, but your soul will lead you and your soul will tell you what you need to do. I feel like there is this kind of like divine order to things, but this divine order comes from kind of this stripping down of everything that's not you. But I don't feel like it's to remain there. I think it's to build yourself. It's relearning how to walk through life again. And sometimes like when I was being very silly or more whimsical, I guess you could say, I was, yes, in a more spiritual whatever state. I was in a more internal state. I was connected with my inner child, and I had to go there to become into what I meant to create next. And I think that sometimes like when you just focus on the external, you never post so much. Things take so long to find your creative process. It is this journey and it's devotion, and to really create from a place of your soul, which maybe does sound so arrogant, but I believe you'll see even more in the future. It's not just meant to be a select few people that are creators. It's meant to be the divine design. I know that sounds really privileged because like it's obviously very difficult in a world full of capitalism and the way we live to do that. But when you look at the world with AI and how people's jobs or whatever are getting replaced, I don't know if that's necessarily as dramatic as they're making it seem, right? Because I feel like, yes, people are getting fired and there's systems and assistants and like all these things you can outsource, and people are doing that because like especially with capitalism workforces, why wouldn't they? You know, like they don't care about you. They don't typically care about you. It's all connected. Like it's a spiritual shift which people have to create from their souls and integrate into this world, which is a topic I tend to reflect on quite a bit. I just think to follow your path, even though there's going to be cycles within it and there's going to be also like that dualistic, that polar, I think that's the best way to dive into anything. Okay, I'm going to master this skill. And actually, a lot of the best, like, you know, guys that just focus on 3D advice, like Alex Hormozy and stuff, like he talks about, okay, and I agree with him because I heard him say this. I'm like, that's exactly what I do. And I've never heard someone actually say this before. I'm like, that's exactly it. And I always felt like I was apologizing for myself before that. And I realized, okay, there's other people that like to perform in a high way and they dive into these intensities. Like if you want to focus on one thing at once, then go focus on that. If you want to level up, the fastest way to level up is to pick like one or two things and just focus on that and ignore the other things. That's why sometimes I'm just focusing on my physical, or I'm just in like an internal state and I'm like going through grief, but I'm processing it. I'm doing whatever arises within me. I feel like a lot of the advice out there is just mainly physical. They are following their path, but it is just from this deprivation, ignoring like the spiritual nature and the spiritual aspect. And I think that if you just think about like the spiritual nature of your souls and like you're just like la 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 la, and you're not honoring the building and the other aspect, and you're just like lock in, ignore your emotion. I think both of these things create blocks, and I think that these things are meant to work in harmony, right? When Alex Hormozy is like ignore your emotion, ignore these things, but I'm like, okay, like you can be productive but also like understand there's a different season and a different time for everything in life. Like I do believe that there is a lot of truth that you need to lock in on two things, but also know it's time to like change, know when it's time to focus on a different thing. So sometimes like I'll be focused on, like I said, my internal world, or figuring out how to edit, or like how do I want to storytell, or things like this, which also if you're gonna have to figure out something, you could be like very spiritually advanced. I'm not saying I am, I'm just saying like you can't claim shit. You cannot claim shit in this world because people think it's ego. Even if you know your rootedness, or like you have clarity, you can say I have clarity, but like you cannot claim shit because people are just like, oh, you're arrogant, it's ego. I'm like, babe, how is finding your soul? You know, I gave up everything to find my soul, and I feel like sometimes with my life I make it look easy. I'm not fake or anything like this. It's just that I disappear and I come back better. I disappear and I come back better. I will constantly elevate, and I don't care who laughs at me because I don't care who doesn't see my vision, because in the end everyone ends up stalking me. I have to block them all. It's all energy vampires in the end, you know, and it doesn't matter. I don't care. It's not about that. I want everyone to embark and follow their paths. I want everyone to follow their souls. They always laugh at things first, okay? And then they ask you how you do it, right? I've heard people say it before. But if you're just locking in one thing, if your soul is telling you, I want love, I want this, I need to focus on this, and you just keep having that voice in your head because that's been the repeated thing you told yourself and it's got you results. Like if you just need to lock in with something that you're building tangibly, whether it's finances, building yourself at the gym, all these things are great things, right? It's great to build your life and your future, and it's great to understand that you are not a robot. To work against your own nature is to work against yourself and your dreams. So it's all about like working with yourself and working with your soul and not suppressing that voice within, because I feel like we think we need to suppress these things and we need to like just be so headstrong, and that's the 3D perspective, kind of just be so headstrong and just put your head down and like ignore your emotions. And I feel like that's a very toxic masculinity thing. No, feel your emotions. Both of these things can coexist at once. Like you don't have to deny any aspect to yourself. Like I was, you know, more in my heart space or whatever you could say, like very cracked open in that way, which is beautiful, like love, you know, but you're so in this like love and soulmate perspective that you're not in this like self-worth and like understanding that there's still, you know, how people treat you. Without that, like I sounded fucking crazy. But then I feel like sometimes to jump into something that you're, even after, say, if you've gone on this internal journey and all this stuff, to jump into anything that you're building, whether it's building or even like a different perspective, whatever it is, I always dive in with it strong. I feel like I dip my toes in, and then it's like this dive. I feel like it's like, okay, slow, and then it's like a catapult, and then I have to like swim back into the middle. But I just think that's what it is to like really integrate, and I feel like that's what it is to, I guess, create anything, because it is this internal reflection, right? It is this reflection of yourself. I mean, I feel like everything in life almost goes back to like this paradox. You go in the yin and the yang. Everything this life has dark and light, this dualistic nature. The whole thing with this is that it's really important to see yourself and see your journey. I do look to the outside. Here's the thing, I feel like I really feel alive when I'm in such that perspective where I don't need anything. I really don't need anything, and the way I want to create these things, it's not from this place of like needing to create and like I want to show everyone this, I want to show everyone that. I literally block everyone, but I literally create new accounts. I am not posting anything from people in my past. Like there's energy vampires and just freaking stalkers and weirdos stalk me every second. That's another thing. Like I feel like to create, you have to like allow your old selves to die. You're allowed to change and you're allowed to grow as many times as you want to, and that's what I tell myself, because I think sometimes like I even look at what I'm creating now, I'm just like, why can't you do better? I do look to the outside, I compare what I'm doing to like other people. Why can't you talk normally? Like why can't you have a point? Why do you have a million pathways? And sometimes like I'm really my own worst enemy. Like it's really sad actually. I'm both the devil and the angel on my shoulder, I really am, but the devil is a fucking bitch. And that's why I'm like, I really need to be the angel as well, and to like have that compassion for yourself, because at the same time like I can be the most fucking ruthless and the most 3Dist perspective, like fuck you bitch, like you hurt me, all these things, even to people, like you hurt me, even to myself or to anyone else. You know, someone commented, and I actually appreciate this comment. I need to reply to my comments. The problem is like I'll read them and I'll think of 1,000 things to say, and then I just don't end up replying. I want to create a community, I really do. Or I say something so dumb because I'm just like, oh, it's not that deep. You know, it's like people are just commenting, like relax. I really do want to create a community, and I guess that comes from like this reflection of like, hey, what do I want in this creative space? I want to create value, and I want to create things that I wish existed. I want to create like what I'm here to create. So what I'm here to say is that whatever you are on your journey, like I'm using my life as an example. I'm talking about me. I feel like so many people, they give the wisdom, they give advice, and I feel like it's not direct from what they're going through. Sometimes I want to like watch YouTube video when I'm going to sleep, and I'm realizing I can't. I feel like I get so much cortisol going online. There's not a lot of things I find that's like, I don't even really want to listen to this. It's like all just grabbing for your attention. I just feel like it raises my cortisol. Not all of it, I'm sure there's some good things out there. Or I just feel like there's this influx of information and people, they're doing like essays, but it's all about other people. Can we just stop talking about other people? That's another thing. I'm like, I say I want to create community, but sometimes I'm just like so disappointed with the community I see, especially like in the spiritual community. Like we're all spiritual, but there's people that are on this path, and then they seem to be like almost like criticizing other people on this journey, and it's just sad to see, to be honest. Like I'm really disappointed seeing how people treat other people online. I feel like, you know, the online space is very new. It's all still very new, and people like don't know how to talk to each other. You know, I think we need to be able to talk about things that are going on and to have a voice and to kind of pay attention. But that's another thing. I felt like on my journey, I felt like I spent so much time, to be honest, trying to learn about what's going on in the world. The more that you learn, the more that you just feel defeated. I learned a lot, but there's still a lot to learn. There's so much to learn about the world, and sometimes I kind of do get some people's perspectives. Like the more that you uncover and the more that you really see through and the more that you awaken to, oh my god, you realize the darkness of this world. But I also realize it's not everyone's path to focus on the darkness. Of course it breaks my heart, like what is going on in the world obviously breaks my heart. What can I do? What can a single person do? All these topics about these people that they create these videos and like enlightenment, half of them are guys, and like they're all just scammers. I'm not saying all of them are, because we're all souls, and I don't just think women can reach enlightenment. I think men can too. We're all, you know, souls, whatever. But I do think that women are sometimes like almost like cats. Like some people have certain connections more so. Women are different than men. Women have a portal literally between their freaking legs, right? I do often wonder, where do people think life comes from? You have a portal between your legs that is your connection. The womb is literally your connection to source. It's your connection to creation. Women have a freaking portal within their womb. I always talk about sexual energy. People think it's from this place of like, oh, I talk about sex and how like we should not have sex with people because it's just energy exchange. I feel like people, they think it's from this place of, oh, you think it's because you're just meant for one guy forever. No, I just think that, well, there's a lot of reasons why I think that I don't want to have sex with fucking people. If you realize how a lot of guys think, you'd be disgusted and you wouldn't want anyone to touch you. And I think that a lot of women are lying when they talk about pleasure and from guys, all these things. Like, I think you're lying. Maybe I'm wrong. Third of all, I think that is your sexual energy. Your sexual energy is literally priceless, and we are meant to put that into our creation. Now, I know there's a lot of women around the world, unfortunately, who have to be in relationships because they are not as privileged to live in a first world country as I am. They do not live in the West, just certain cultures in this world who do not have the privilege, and they have to marry and they have to do things because they don't have a choice, right? You know, it's not love if you have to force someone, okay? Seriously, this world disgusts me. The more that you learn, you can go down these deep rabbit holes. It just makes you into this point of like despair. And you're just like, how can I be focused on myself? I need to be focused on the creator. I need to be focused on God. Also, talking to the spiritual community now, people are talking to one another. It's so upsetting. Like, after seeing, there's a tarot reader, which I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual community, I'm not really so much into tarot because I know that there's people with gifts out there. Like, we all have gifts. I'm saying this. We all have gifts. That's not this demonic thing, but I feel with tarot, I'm gonna do a whole different video talking about the pipeline, Christianity, all that stuff. Anyways, the community, the way that people talk to one another, it's not understanding that sometimes people are on their different journey, and like their journey is not linear, and some people can have confusion. Going back even a couple of years ago, I felt like I was kind of in that mentality, especially 2 summers ago. I felt like I had Christ consciousness, and I was talking about Christ consciousness. I feel like I was like really in flow, and I was really heavily far more connected to like the divine. I like to say the divine more than Christ now, but I feel like it's the same fucking thing. But I feel like Christ consciousness implied this obtainment. It's like this dissolution, this oneness with the creator, oneness with the divine. I don't feel like that now. I feel like I don't have as much of my divine spark, but that's just because I know I had to focus on like this 3D kind of physical aspects, and I had to learn how to do other things. I just had to dive into that. I was so bad at doing that stuff, so like I also had to like embarrass myself in that way, but then you learned that way because that was part of my mission. If you had to ask me what would I choose, I would want to be feeling that complete spiritual state, that oneness, that Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. I don't even like to say God anymore because sometimes Christianity. I would love to feel that all the time, but I know it's not part of my mission, so I had to focus on this external world. Sometimes to focus on this, it can look like you're focusing on the surface, but really it's like, okay, yeah, I am focusing on the surface, but the surface is so much more complicated to me than like certain depths. But then I go and focus on the surface, and I finally get like maybe not so bad at it and kind of good at it. Like maybe I get good at this, and sometimes it starts to kind of reflect my soul. I'm authentic, I'm myself, and I'm not copying anyone's message. I'm probably one of the only few people here that are actually not copying people's messages and speaking from the soul. You don't understand how much content is like actually not real, right, in this world, especially like mainstream content, because there's people that are pushed. It's just brain rot and shit, which is stupid. Their entertainment industry needs actually real creators to go on your path. You eventually find so much trust within yourself. You find so much trust within yourself when you really do listen to your soul, and I feel like that's how real confidence is built. So I feel like I have like such internal confidence, but when it comes to social things, I feel like I never used to be I've kind of always been a little socially awkward, but also like I can be really fucking crazy if I'm comfortable. I can be like life of the party. I really can. The point is, your journey is not going to look like anyone else's, and I feel like there's so much to learn to like really actually like discover your soul. And I don't feel like I've gotten to this place of arrival, but I just feel like I'm at this point where I feel so much more confident in who I am. I really feel like I have a lot of clarity, even though like there's so much more growing into myself and growing into my soul and things that I want to change with myself. I'm like no longer getting in my own way. I've disappeared for long enough that I can kind of like create from this place now of, okay, like I'm not where I want to be. Maybe I'm creating from this place of being embarrassing because I'm trying. Like I'm actually fucking trying, and maybe I should be better at this, but at the same time I also have to understand like I've actually gained so much clarity, and I have so much like vision, and I have so much more things. Not that it's like I should compare myself to other people, but like we all do. I just feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, no, but like look what I have. look what I have that other people maybe don't, because like they're creating from this place maybe like of just like copy and paste, right? I saw this clip of this girl, Candace Owens, I think her name is, and she said something about, she was a young, and she was on this event, and it was her saying, she's like, I could be on this yacht, you know, doing this stuff, like selling my morals. There's so many times where I had opportunities to be like that and to like sell my moral, and I didn't, because so many industries are corrupt. And that's like the truth kind of like behind modeling. When I was in school, I was kind of doing social media and stuff. I was in school, it's like right before, like literally like a month before my spiritual awakening. There's this girl who I met previously, and she asked me to model. If you don't think I look like a model, I was so skinny then. I would model when I was a kid a little bit of this, and like me and my sister, we were like the town princesses. We would go on this float and we're like literally princess crowns. We would literally wave to the town with like the Princess Diana or whatever, like the queen wave, and we would go on these floats and we'd wear like these little like capes. I'm not even joking you. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get these photos one day. I remember I did this like catwalk fashion show when I was younger, and there's things like this, and I always thought it was kind of fun, stuff like this, but it was never like my aspirations to be a model. But I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do this on the side. It's really rough to like build things for yourself, because I think if you do try to go into certain industries, or you do try to like build a career or to build something for yourself, or to like even get a supporting job, it's not so as black and white and simple as that. I feel like, you know, I tried to model on the side, and I had people like that were like wanting to model. It's just like a lot of people that don't have right intentions within these industries. Even like photographers, like a lot of these girls are like either trying to kidnap you, or like they're trying to get you to go on some guy's yacht. They disguise it to be like a modeling thing. That's just the truth of a lot of these industries, which hopefully it's going to change in the future. Going back to what Candace was saying, I think we can kind of gain this like bitterness if you aren't kind of a sellout. I'm not saying everyone that like necessarily does shit like that takes advantage of that, you know what I mean? It's like necessarily a sellout. I think like sometimes people act from like trauma, but I do think like a lot of people are. I think you can start to look at other people as separate from you, like, oh, they're doing it like that because like they're just like this, and I'm just above everyone because like I don't do that. And I don't agree with like having bitterness or having like jealousy of other women. So I feel like sometimes when women talk about these things, it does kind of sound like, oh, you're jealous. But no, I do think it is far more valuable. You have to understand everything takes from you, and the only thing that you have is something that you can build for yourself. And that's not to build from a place of like, okay, I need to have something tangible, because if you have your soul and you have yourself and you know who you are, you really can create anything. And you also need to understand, if you have yourself, you really need to understand, like, you could have nothing. You could be homeless. You could have nothing. Like, I was stripped down to nothing, and I was shown no other area would work for me. Even in the past, I had really bad jobs. Like, I worked at literally Harvey's flipping burgers, and my like boss, well, he only hired me because he thought I was attractive. You know, there's just like sexual assault everywhere, and I'm just realizing I cannot work anywhere. You know, like, I worked waitressing job. My manager was on coke, and which is whatever, you do you, but she stole my tips, and like all these different ways I was shown. You have no path but to create from your soul. Okay, I have 1 minute of talking left, but the whole point is, like, to other people, you don't need to explain yourself to other people, and you just need to trust that your path is your path. Like, who gives a fuck what someone thinks about it? Who gives a fuck? No one supports it. We always think that we need people to support it, but it comes from this place of like scarcity. No, you don't. If your family doesn't want to support you, whatever, they don't get to reap the benefits, then you need to trust your soul and your path. And like, no one actually needs to really understand you and your path. And sometimes, you know, it's someone's journey. We should not put other people down, even if people are just milking the systems, and honestly, maybe good for them. Like, maybe I should be doing that, but at the same time, it's not me. There's no point of comparing our paths to other people, because our paths are completely different than other people's. Understanding your path's your path. If you're on a path now, maybe you're focused on the internal journey, that might set you up for life. That may get you to a point. It's better that you sacrifice those years. Maybe it's not, but you know, it's not about one way is better than the other, but it's about listening to what your soul needs in each season, in each moment. I hope this video was not as rambled and had a little bit more structure. Yeah.